Miss Khushee Doshi, who will be presenting via video.
Before I begin, I want to ask you all one question that will be centric to my speech. And that question is, what is that one thing that stays with us from the moment we are born to the moment we die? I want to intertwine this question to a recent podcast that I heard, which is by BBC's Deeply Human. It featured Sister Dang Niem, who is a Buddhist nun, and she was in conversation with a woman who was a victim of domestic violence, and she also happened to be a mother to the child that she had with her former partner. And as I was driving and listening to this podcast, I was profoundly moved by the fact how calm, how soft-spoken, and how patient Sister Dang was. Her entire conversation, as I was listening to the podcast, was drawn to your breathing. And coming back to that question I asked, your breath is that very thing that stays with you from the moment you are born to the moment you die. It doesn't leave you a single step of your life. Yet, despite of how essential our breath is, we do not consider it to be profound, and it's often overlooked. Our breathing is our presence. It is a mark of our existence and the very proof that we are alive as humans. Do you know how profound our breathing is? I did not before I listened to this episode that featured Sister Dang. She said and she emphasized on the fact that our breathing is representative of our headspace, our mind space, and our breathing can help control our physiology. Just think about it for one moment. When you breathe, you have different ways of breathing in different states. When you're angry, you have more rapid breathing. When you're calm, your breathing subdues and is more soft and slow. While you're nervous, you start breathing heavily. Sometimes you even stop. If we could control our breathing, we automatically control our feelings, the way we express ourselves, the way we feel. We can go from being angry to calm in seconds just by regulating our breath. And we're also controlling our physiology. Nervousness, anxiety, stress does so much harm to the human physiology. And we are in control of that, in the very presence. Our control of our breath is our control of our functioning, of our human physiology. Not only that, our breathing and our calmness, and the way we control ourselves, can also have an impact on the relations we foster and the relations we nurture with other humans. The lady Sister Dang was talking to was a survivor of domestic violence. What would you expect that lady to respond to her partner who had violated her, who had domestically beaten her, who wasn't kind to her in any aspect? What I was surprised by is how Sister Dang emphasized on forgiveness through your calm state of mind. When you're calm, you become more analytical and more forgiving and more compassionate to those who have even harmed you. To conclude this beautiful breathing control that we all have in this world, I would like to say, and I'd like to give you one tip that I've been trying to implement in my life through my meditation and through my practice and gradual transcendence of controlling my breath, and that is through a simple exercise called the Anulom Vilom. What you do is you close one nostril, you breathe in, you close the other, and you breathe out. It's a practice of controlling your breath, and being present in every moment and every possible aspect of life. Thank you.
Okay, now I just want to make a comment on our student speaker who's going to be evaluating Khushee, and this is actually being recorded and it will be sent to her with her speech so that she does get your evaluation. So it's still like she's here in person, Jake. So Jake, he's going to be evaluating Khushee Doshi.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, and hello, fellow Toastmasters. Today, I'm evaluating Khushee Doshi and her amazing speech on breathing to help control emotions. I really enjoyed how you used a useful skill that is very practical in everyday life. Breathing, we all do. It can be used in many situations, and you specifically elaborated on how to use it to control your emotions. I enjoyed the example you gave in the beginning, the question, a great hook. It was, what one thing stays with us throughout our whole life? That got me leaning in a little bit. I'm thinking, well, we got a couple of things that can stay with us, but what could you be talking about? I wanted to hear more. I wanted to dig deep and find out what you were talking about. And then I enjoyed the example that you brought up where you had a podcast you were listening to and how you had this lady that had a traumatic experience happen to her, and she seemed oddly calm. And you brought up that a possibility was that she was using these breathing techniques to keep her calm in this heightened state, if you will. And I also enjoy how you sound very cultured and educated. It's almost so educated and cultured that it flies over my head sometimes, but that's just great. That's just good vocabulary. That's good speaking skills. I love it. One thing I would recommend you maybe taking a look at is your hand gestures this week. It was good, but like Mr. John Morse was saying, it was kind of robotic. It was like always moving sort of thing. I would love to see it with more purpose. Like this is happening here, this is happening there. More purpose instead of just this is good, but it's also a little distracting from your beautiful words that you're saying. Also, something to challenge yourself. I would love to hear you change your vocal variety, go up, go low, slow down, speed up, because you do have a very nice voice, a very calming voice. Kind of reminds me of a yoga instructor, a very calming, soothing voice. It's beautiful, but to keep you really engaged, I would recommend more vocal variety. Thank you for your beautiful speech, Khushee Doshi.